go.
Recording.
Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Happiness Chat. It's wonderful seeing you all. The human mind is completely fascinating. It has a habit of equating things, people, and events. We label such things as coincidence and deja vu. When I was laid up in bed when I was recovering during my illness, I was watching the news of the tsunami on TV. My mind started equating the occurrence of the tsunami with what had happened to me. Just like the meteorological department could not figure out what was happening, what was coming, and all the devastation that it caused. Similarly, the viral meningitis came from nowhere and devastated everything along its way, putting me into a deep. In fact, there's a chapter in my book dealing with this, which is called My Personal Tsunami. The latest global calamity that the world is dealing with is the COVID-19. Besides the primary health issue, our minds are swamped with so many questions. When will the economy recover? What will happen to our jobs? How will we pay our bills? Etc. etc. I was thinking that a lot of this kind of uncertainty and all the hows an entrepreneur deals with every day. Will this business idea succeed? Will I get the loan? Will it sell? How will we sustain ourselves? What if it flops? And the questions are endless. Natasha, slide please. Some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, others make it happen, said the greatest basketball player of all times, Michael Jordan. Quick studies reveal that despite the uncertainties of starting up, entrepreneurs on the whole actually report a higher mental well-being than those in a steady job. The feeling of empowerment and self-confidence that comes from entrepreneurship actually finds its way into virtually every area of our life. Isn't that just so amazing? The freedom to be able to create your own work routine. Some people work best at night, like me. Others work, others are early risers. To be able to follow your passion, there are no rules. Create a system and a process that you're happy with, but don't jeopardize your health and your well-being. After all, isn't taking control of your life one of the reasons that you decided to become an entrepreneur in the first place? The entrepreneurs that we see on the cover of magazines have actually gone through many failures to reach where they are today. The late Steve Jobs failed multiple times before Apple became the brand that we see today. To understand and truly appreciate how entrepreneurs work, we have the best of the lot. Our guest speaker today is Simeran Bhasin, who knows the A to Z of entrepreneurship. I would be taking the fizz out of the soda if I was to read out all that she has done. So, a very warm welcome to you, Simran, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Shilpa. It's amazing to be here, part of your program. I must tell all of you, my earliest memories of Shilpa, who's my older sister, was during summer holidays when I would pop by a week in Delhi before I headed out to Jammu and Kashmir. And one of those, and always, their house was a stopover. And I still remember she would be breezing in and out. This was in the middle of her final exams in college. She would go out partying, come back late at night, and apparently sit down to study then. And a couple of months later, we would hear that she has topped her class. And I just kept wondering, how does she do it? And I sort of must have spent the rest of my school and college years with my nose to the book. But, I don't think I have ever achieved the effortlessness that you did, Shilpa. And I think, despite everything you went through, a couple of years ago, again, back in Delhi, just on a whim, you were down and you said, Sim, are you in Delhi? I said, yes, come on over. And it was just like that, an evening got put together. And it's the same old Shilpa. It's amazing how you just sort of live your life on a song. So thank you for having me here. I'm truly honored.
Absolute pleasure. It's just so nice, but you have to give us a little background of the amazing things that you do.
So you're being much too generous, but a couple of things about me. Unlike most of the Bhasin clan, I grew up in Bangalore. I'm part of a family of entrepreneurs. Both my parents have been and continue to be entrepreneurs in their own right. But I took to the corporate world, perhaps to stay as far away from financial uncertainty as I could, having grown up around it, and spent a bulk of my career with Titan, about 13 years there, and was fortunate enough at a very young age to be given the responsibility to reposition and relaunch a brand, which was Fast Track, Titan's youth brand. So spent 11 years doing that, building Fast Track into a youth brand that sort of took me and kept me back in college. And then moved to Wildcraft as their chief marketing officer. That's India's outdoor gear brand. And helped them launch over a couple of years. And right through, I would say, this corporate journey, pretty much a couple of years after I started, I think it was my husband first who would keep sort of egging me on, saying that, you've built brands for others. When are you going to do something for yourself? And I kept looking for excuses and didn't get around to it till my brother pushed me in my 40th year and said, it's now or never. You're going to sink into the comfort of the 40s and going to with this. So, what is it? I turned entrepreneur about 4 years ago. 2016 is when I teamed up with a college friend of mine and launched a brand of innerwear for young girls, for teen girls, called Brag. And it's been 4 years now, an roller coaster ride, and loving every minute of it.
That's just so amazing. It sounds envious. Anyway, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand the mind of an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship brings with it a lot of uncertainty. It means giving up the comfort of a regular job. How did you decide, let's do this? Was there a Eureka moment?
So, I think it was because I was being pushed to become an entrepreneur way before I actually wanted to become one. I looking for excuses, although I recall right through, when you have corporate sort of sessions where you are put down your 5-year plan, your personal, your professional goals. I would always find myself putting out there that I want to launch my own brand at some point. But it was always sort of far away. I think, I reached this when I joined Wildcraft, and the co-founders sort of were my peer group. And, I was looking at them and saying, so what is stopping me from doing it, right? And then, of course, my brother came and nudged me along the way and said, seriously, what are you waiting for? I think at that point, I had tried so many things in the corporate world, and I've always been someone who's needed a challenge to get me up every morning. having launched and sort of built one of the largest youth brands in the country and then helped launch Wildcraft, just reached a point where I said that, now I've done this. I've done it in a large company. I've helped launch a smaller brand in a smaller company. But wouldn't it be great if I could do it on my own? And I think excitement of that and the challenge of that was what started getting me excited. And when I started thinking more about that, then I thought, the next work challenge the following day. That's when I knew I just had to do it. I had to get it out of my system. Nothing else. Give it a shot.
Wow, that's so amazing. So tell me, being so qualified and with such great career prospects, how did you get your family on board with this idea?
Could you repeat that? I didn't get the last bit.
Sure. I said, being so qualified and with great career prospects, how did you get your family on board with this idea?
So, it didn't take very much because, as I said, I was already being egged on over the last couple of years by, my husband and then my brother. Um, but I did realize that this was going to require me to kind of give up some of the sort of comforts that I had gotten used to, and that would also um, sort of impact my family, right? And I had a very close friend who had told me at that time that, Sim, don't expect to earn anything for at least 3 years, if not longer. And just sort of being mindful of that, I remember sort of calling them and sitting them down one day and saying, look, guys, this is going to mean, that we will all have to tighten our belts, because I don't know where this will take us financially, right? But I do know that if I have to jump into it, I have to, and I will give it my all. And work that way has always consumed me. So, this idea had already begun consuming me. And, the amazing thing about coming from a family of entrepreneurs is that, they just sort of, they are the ones who sort of push you through. And I remember my dad sitting down with me and saying, Sim, you remember what we've gone through as a family? And I said, yes. He said, are you ready to rise like the phoenix every time you get hit down? And I said, and he said, only then do it. Because entrepreneurship isn't easy at all. Around every corner, there is a hurdle. And I think that was the kind of, that put in me a determination that that hasn't let go.
Amazing, amazing. So tell me, entrepreneurship, the way I look at it, is all about handling pressure. How did you know that you were cut out to deal with this kind of pressure?
One of the things I always thought about myself was that I get stressed out very easily, right? And about the smallest things, biggest things. So it was just varying degrees of stress. But I remember this till date. But I I realized that I would be able to give it my all. And I think mentally in my mind, already sort of, whether sitting down with the family and talking them through it, that in a way was talking myself through it also, telling myself to be prepared for the fact that this could potentially at that time that I didn't want to go back to the corporate world. I didn't want to go there because that was not exciting anymore. And when you reach a point when you know way, right? It's like you've taken away the option B, right? There is only option A to go towards. And I didn't think it beyond that. I just said, okay, I'm going to do this, and just took it from there.
Wonderful, the way to do it, absolutely. So tell me, when you have a real downturn, how do you pick yourself up again? Do you hear me, Simran? Did you hear me, or should I repeat the question?
I heard only the down.
Okay, okay. So when you have a real downturn, how do you pick yourself up again?
So, I think I kind of inherited, this brain from my father, where, if there's some problem that I'm dealing with, struggling with, it tends to wake me up at all odd hours, in early morning. And invariably what starts happening to me is this mind sort of starts going around, and I start generating ideas. And my dad and I laugh about it now, because earlier I used to also stress about the fact that I'm not getting enough sleep, so I'm up at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. But I laugh about it with dad now, because he's like, oh, your mind is buzzing with ideas. So that's the amazing part of it, that I while the challenges kind of stress me out, and when something seems unsurmountable, it becomes a little difficult to kind of figure out what to do. But I realize that my waking moments is not when I'm able to figure things out, right? It's after my mind has shut down that it suddenly wakes up at 2 or 3 in the morning with like 10 new ideas that just fuel the excitement to wake up the next day again. And this slide is representative of typically what all of us entrepreneurs go through, right? And every morning when you wake up, it's this high, this excitement, right? Where you're on the top of the world, and you believe that all of the 10 ideas you have are all going to work simultaneously, and you're going to go up there. But invariably, it's a combination of the excitement and, let's say, some little variable that isn't working, and the next thing you know, you're down in the dumps again. But I think it's just the passion of an entrepreneur that makes you want to sort of pull a rabbit out of a hat every time you're down in the dumps. And this seesaw happens. Half the time you're kicking yourself for having made that mistake, and it's almost like you're proving to yourself, and that's why you need to come up with an idea that will remind you why you did this and why you're going to be good at it, right? So this is one of those posters that sort of always comes back to me every time I'm having a terrible day. And one hopes to have and looks forward to the next high. You're almost kind of willing it to happen. But yeah.
This is wonderful. Although I am not in your category, Simran, but I have to confess, I get all my bright ideas at night. Whether it's writing an article, it's doing a course, it's doing anything, my mind, I get all my ideas at night somehow. I don't know what the hell I do during the day. The mind is at its sharpest at night. Okay, that brings me to my next question. There may have been moments when you have regretted going this route and miss having a secure job. Do you have those?
I haven't regretted it for a single day. It's just been such a high. entrepreneurship, I think this feeling, and to me, many such moments, whether it is a customer, a mom calling saying my daughter refuses to wear any other beginner bra other than brags, to a retailer who we've been trying to crack, and we've managed to get shelf space vis-a-vis competition that has a couple of 100 crores, and here we're struggling with significantly fewer zeros in the bank, to finding out that some of the top leading brands in the country uh, are tracking us to figure out what we're doing. Each one of these have been sort of, highs that one has held on to. And, this is what sort of, I think tells you as an entrepreneur that you're on to something. And that's really that's really the adrenaline that you go on.
Simran, you've stolen my last question to you. You almost answered it. My last question to you was that stress is an integral part of your work, like 24/7. That also raises our adrenaline level, giving us a high, just like an athlete running and winning a race. So tell us about the high of entrepreneurship.
So it's the high of entrepreneurship. Is funny because it isn't as easy as the newspapers and the CNBCs of the world make it out to be, right? It's a lot of groveling in the sand. It's a lot of feeling terrible and sort of pitying yourself. It's a lot of what the hell have I gone and done? And I think I would kind of sort of, it's this sort of happiness that comes in this weird way, that's like this little ball of wool that a kitten's taken and sort of run in and out of, gotten yourself knotted into in so many ways that sometimes you wonder, how am I going to get out of this? But it just, it's something, it's like the tip of this arrow you see out there. You have to get out there and back onto that line, no matter how many times you've messed up, right? And somehow that goal at the end of the tunnel is what keeps you going and what brings you back onto even keel. And to me, I've realized that, having that goal, having that purpose defined for you when you know where that point is, that's what has made me happy. And that happiness is the adrenaline that sort of keeps me going, and something that I've learned keeps every entrepreneur going, right? No matter how rough the path is.
Absolutely. My God, this is just so beautiful. You said it so well about the high, because there were many people who were asking me, what has happiness got to do with, entrepreneurship? I said, well, we'll have the best of the lot explaining it to us. So I won't bother with it. You've explained it just so well. There's one incident that I wanted to share with you. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a professional. So this incident doesn't fit in within the, but it does have a few elements of it. So I'm going to take the liberty of sharing it with you. This was in the year 2004 when I was recovering from my illness. I got an email from my former director asking me if I would draft a contract. I had not seen a legal document since I fell sick. So it's been a few years. I had no references, no documents, just me and myself. So I drafted the contract, and her response was, bravo, the brain is as sharp as ever. I was also paid for the work. I could not stop smiling for days. And this incident gave me the confidence and encouraged me to write further. In fact, I landed up writing my first book. The high of completing a job when you cannot even stand, it was so awesome. So I thought I would share this with you. And in
Fantastic.
my one little job, I'm getting this high, and I'm trying to imagine your high from all your activities, all your ventures over all the years. I mean, the satisfaction and the joy would be immense.
Absolutely.
So we have a wonderful audience with us. My question to all of you is, what do you think takes to be an entrepreneur? Please share your thoughts. 2 minutes, please.
Can I speak?
Please.
Yeah. So, firstly, I think Simran's talk was absolutely scintillating, and something which I personally really relate to, because I think taking that leap of faith to become an entrepreneur, we'd be talking a lot of uncertainties in becoming an entrepreneur, be it financial or professional or otherwise. So quickly, my story is very simple. I'm a lawyer by profession, and so is my husband. When we got married, we were working in different law firms, and something seemed amiss. And we both had that decision to make, whether or not, I mean, we just started off our lives. So we were about 1 year into marriage, and we decided that, and we were barely getting to see each other, and we just decided to quit. And we said, okay, let's take a holiday. So we went across Europe and America. We took like a 45-day sabbatical, which
Wow.
would not have been possible with any corporate job. And we thought once we come back, we'll start applying for another position, another law firm. And it so happened, like just in Simran's case, we also kept getting that nudge from our family and friends who really encouraged us and supported us. And we decided to take that leap of faith. Of course, in my case, it was very different because I was not all alone. So it was my husband as well. So to come to your question, what it takes to be an entrepreneur, I think support from your family and friends, the encouragement, that can do wonders. It can help you make that decision at least. Otherwise, one is just thinking about it for years and years, and one doesn't have the courage to take that leap of faith. Secondly, belief, which I had in my partner, and he had in me, and we had in ourselves as well. Uh, Thirdly, I think we all, I mean, if we're taking that leap of faith, we need to have that risk appetite. Um, for example, if we had children or we had other people to support, it would have probably taken us longer, or and it would have been a different story then. But here we had that risk appetite, so we said, okay, we'll try it. If it does out, okay, we'll weigh our options, but it's something we really wanted to do, both of us. And then of course one needs to be very willing to be frugal for a while. Like Simran also pointed out, for the next couple of years you should be willing to be working on no income. So you have to be willing to be frugal, and I think at max we have to be very, very patient. That's it. And I'm glad it was a challenge. It's exciting because, primarily because it's your baby, you're constantly thinking about it, how to better it. You don't really want an off, and even when you have an off, you're thinking about it. So that takes you there. And of course, I love being my own boss. I can take leave whenever I want to. I can do whatever I want to during the day and cover up at night, so I don't have to stick to corporate job timing. So yeah, I'm loving it. Thank you.
Fabulous.
Fantastic,
Fabulous. Thank you
Swati.
so much for sharing. Thank you. Who else would
Yes.
like to share with us? We have such amazing people over here. Who would like to share?
Okay, so I'd like to share with you. So I started, so I've been in corporate jobs most of my life. My name is Natashas Bhasin. And so and
I
plus,
can't hear you.
Okay, give me a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So, so I've been in corporate jobs most of my life.
No.
After that, I got into my own family business, which was in events and wedding planning. But all of the while, I knew that my happiness, lay somewhere else. And I've been a healer and a coach for almost 25 years on the side, along with my work that I'd been doing. And I think it's this age of 40, like Simran said, that
Not
uh,
so clear. So sad. I really wanted to hear Natasha speak. Oh,
can you hear me now?
that connection. Yeah, we can. Please don't go away. We want to hear you.
Okay, so
Maybe,
I was saying,
maybe
like,
if you switch off your video and then maybe just put on your audio, we'll be able to hear you better.
good idea.
Okay.
Okay, so so I have been a coach and a person who heals for, like I said, almost 25 years. And I think, like Simran said, that age of 40 is this age which kind of makes you think. And so at the age of 40, I too said, if I don't do this now, I don't know when I'm going to do it or if I will ever be able to do it. So at 40 started the churn, and I gathered the courage to tell my 70-year-old mother that I think it's time I've got to follow my dreams. And it was amazing that the transition happened pretty smoothly. And I set up my own company called Limitless I, in which I lead programs and workshops, and I do healing and coaching. And um, that's really what my life is all about, and that's where my happiness lies. And I thank my environment, my friends, and my family for supporting me to start this journey of my true self-expression. So yeah, that's all I had to share. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Who else would like to share with us? Sonia.
Just unmute yourself and
Okay, so well, I practiced law for almost 2 decades, and then I decided to switch tracks. It was probably, I was considered a fool at that time, that with an illustrious legal career, why would you just give it up? But I asked myself this question: what is my purpose? Purpose is to serve clients. And my husband was the one who pointed out that you would make an excellent coach and facilitator, because you have this ability to settle matters out of court through mediation and stuff like that. Now, I said, okay, but I really didn't know what's waiting for me there, because when I joined I came from a 20 years of law background, it was the ABC all over again. And as very rightly pointed out by Simran and Swati and Natasha, and putting all their things together, I had to learn a lot of things. First thing is, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your experience has been. This is a new line, and you need to learn all the ropes of the work. The second thing was to be comfortable with discomfort. It was very uncomfortable. And as Simran's pictorial said, people look at it like now, oh, success, that 10% of the iceberg. It looks all nice and rosy with the award and everything, but what's gone under it is a lot of hard work, a lot of confidence in yourself, the belief that yes, you will be able to do it, and loving embracing the uncertainty of it. So I think entrepreneur is not a designation or a profession, it's a mindset.
Exactly.
So you need to have that mindset, and once the mindset is there, it doesn't matter which profession you are, you will get there. You just have to hang in there and believe in yourself. Thank you.
You've articulated the whole mindset so beautifully. You've just captured it all. Thank you so much, Sonia, for sharing. Who else would like to share with us? Would Shalini Lamba like to share?
Yeah, Shil, I've been an entrepreneur at a very early age of 24 when I left my job with Jet Air and decided to open my own company. And there was total excitement. There was so much to look forward to. You knew your business. You felt you had your customers sorted. Of course, when we started, it was exactly like the picture that Simran showed, when everybody thought it was a straight upward slide, but there were all those squiggles in between because everything that you had counted on didn't actually work out, and you had to start your learning from point one again. And that was the beauty of it, because the strength, the power, the happiness came from that journey. I feel that entrepreneurship is creation of value, and that value can be monetary. It can be, it can give you a lot of, when you talk about values, you can talk about a lot of values that you get through it: confidence, happiness, power, the ability to be able to do something on your own, the ability to stand out on your own, the ability to reach the top on your own. So I just think that for me, entrepreneurship was that. And then, of course, I went back to the corporate jobs in the aviation industry. And now at the age of 60, I'm looking at, again, starting something new, which would involve the creation of value for others. And that is what is giving me a lot of impetus, excitement. And being single, not having many, what should I say, responsibilities except myself on my head, I've been able to fortunately take these risks, and very willingly. It's never entered my head that I would be a failure. And probably that's what helped me to get ahead and ensure that whatever I did was a success. So entrepreneurship is just the beautiful creation of value, I feel. Thank you, Shil.
My God, you said it so well. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Who else would like to share? I know people on this chat all have their journeys. Yes, please. Paramjit ji. No, we can't hear you. There is a problem. Can't hear you.
Is it okay now?
Yes, now it's fine.
I think I was using microphone yesterday, so it has to shift to that. See, I think a lot of people here had been entrepreneurs, and I had my instinct also long ago. And I don't know how everyone goes into the entrepreneurship, but when I went into it, so there were 2 points which were like, okay, this was mostly, I will be very happy man earning more money, and I will also have my own time. But I think it's not like this. As Simran has said, it's not, in the very beginning, you feel like you have to spend 3-4 years to come out of it. And when you become successful, you are seen on the iceberg, tip of the iceberg. The labor you have put in underneath, it's very, very, very deep. And daily you have to go through it. Daily you have to pass through different feelings. And in entrepreneurship, I think everybody has said a lot of things about it, very good things. I think one another factor which is very good is like you can help other people to wealth. You are giving employment to other people. You are giving, helping other people to get money also, earning money with your, and if you help them to earn money and guide them to make them at your level, they are certainly going to be with you for a longer life, and they will feel happiness, and that happiness, your happiness is really amazing it will be, and so you will get success in any case. Thank you very much.
Very nice. You've shared such a sharing and caring sort of a message on this. Thank you, Paramjit ji. Who else would like to share with us?
Well, mine is I can't. So mine's also been a journey of sorts, where coming from a completely legal background, I chose to go into jewelry, which was a completely, I think, a line which nobody could ever in my families for generations could have dreamt of, that somebody in their family would become a jeweler. And I think I took that leap. And more for me, entrepreneurship is more about, I think, carving your own identity. And that was very important. And I think it really makes you, so it, I wanted that identity, that I am, this is my identity. I didn't want to stick to the family identity or be, I mean, of course, all that helped. But I think it's very important that I created an identity for myself. Of course, like Simran has said, and everybody else has said, it's the support of the family. And it's been a wonderful journey with lots of squiggles up and down and up and down. But I think eventually you get the faith in yourself that if you could start something new, so when you were so young, you will see it through, and it gives you that courage and that thing. You actually self-motivate yourself all the time. You have one little downfall, but then you have one little up. You move up a ladder. So it's a very interesting journey, and I wouldn't trade that off with anything, actually. And of course, like the fact Swati said, you be your own boss. I think for me that is very important. I definitely cannot have anybody bossing over me, because I am the boss.
Well done. Happiness is being your own boss, and you personify that. Thank you so much, Divya. And you add a lot of beauty to the world. You make the women look beautiful, which the lawyers don't do. So thank you so much for the great work that you do. Who else would like to share with us? Okay, so this is really interesting. And I think that the beauty of this is that you don't have to be an entrepreneur to think like an entrepreneur. So the whole purpose of our discussion today was actually to get into the mindset and learn something from them. So whether you are working in a regular job or blazing your own path, the important thing is to discover the empowering mindset that entrepreneurs often display. So there are some golden nuggets that I would like to share with you. First of all, they know handling stress, willing to get up after you fail, belief in yourself, confidence, even when you're not feeling it, pretending to be confident, taking responsibility for your actions and outcomes. You are responsible for your success, for your failure, for your happiness and misery. You. Y-O-U. I'm sorry I'm pointing a finger, but I'm stressing a point. Stop passing the blame. Don't pass the buck. Take accountability. Resilience. Learn to deal with failures, making mistakes, willing to learn from others, and nourishing a growth mindset. I think the best part about entrepreneurship is that it is a journey that you are in charge of. So don't wait to reach your destination in order to be happy. Instead, enjoy the ride. It was so good seeing you all. Thanks so much for joining in. A very special thanks to Simran for sharing her exciting journey with us and all her valuable inputs, and to the wonderful audience. Until we meet again, be happy, be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to see you.